Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Bigger Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a nice Christmas. I didn't get a chance to do one yesterday, but I wanted to kind of wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And obviously we'll do a couple more before the new year starts. But I'm happy to be able to do this. I'm happy I'm 62 and a half years old and hopefully continue to do these for a while. I love doing this. I haven't had a chance to do as many during this last few months because of working and family warrior type issues. But it's a nice hobby for me to have, and I'm hoping that you guys are getting something out of it. And that's the reason I'm doing it, to kind of share my feelings and ideas. And so we're going to do another nice topic today. So anyway, Merry Christmas, and great that we can honor the Lord and continue to conquest and follow his purpose as we go along. So, brother, let me do some shout outs. I didn't get a chance to do it last time. Brother Boldly, official Musick, thank you. TKO, wonderful, thank you. World Star, like the Romans, I agree with you, my friend. There's a lot of things that be learned from all the epochs and all the different eras and years of generations that we've lived through. And fortunately, this last semester, I was able to teach some history to a lot of the high schoolers, and I kind of learned a lot about different areas and going back to the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians and Mayas and things like that. So it was very interesting. Synthpop, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Continue focusing. ZS, thank you, my friend. Alvin, as usual, thank you. Jon the Dawn, twice on this one. TKO. Katerura, thank you. Fred Lamont. Radioear, thank you. Gio the Genius. Gematric. And Jennings and Cologne X Candles, thank you guys very much. I know I'm way behind on a lot of these things and also a lot of comments, but I wanted to kind of at least catch up a little bit as we go along. The topic today, guys, is to continue to grow during semen retention. Now, I did get an interesting email, and I did respond back to, I think it's Michael Scott, and thank you, Michael, for your comments. I am never going to discourage people from commenting, whether they agree with what I'm saying or not. That's okay. And I think Michael's comments was talking about the fact that, people who don't do well with this, obviously, they try to teach it. And I try to explain that, teaching is not very easy. I've been teaching for 30 some years in the college level and the high school level. And it takes a lot of in-depth knowledge and trying to find information because you're teaching at different levels. And I think that you have to continue to grow as a person, whether in your field, whether in things you're doing, and that's going to make you a better person. And what we're really about, guys, on this channel, not so much, semen retention is a big part of it, of course, but what we're really trying to do is get you to become the most excellent male. In this case, we talk to mostly males. We love females, and females, it applies a lot of the same things to it, but obviously pornography, sex addiction, these addictions are really something that affects males a great deal. So this is really for a lot of the males, and to become a high value male, you have to continue to grow. And so back to Michael's comments, talking about that, semen retention is for weak people. Well, we're not really talking about semen retention, Michael. What we're talking about is a level of self-control. And that is very difficult. And I know that because I went through 47 years of going back and forth. And I'll be the first one to admit, as a warrior, that I struggled with a lot of that. As we do. We struggle with a lot of addictions. And it could be, in this case, it could be sexual addictions. It could also be gambling. It could be overeating. It could be anger management. It could be those things. So we have to, warriors, as growing and continue to grow, as great males for the society. And remember, we're looking at a society that is very individualistic, very materialistic, very into themselves. This is what they're promoting. And they're promoting people to be self-centered. All you got to do is look at sporting events and kind of see what's happening with a lot of the sporting events. And I see this with games and football games recently, and I watched them over the weekend and then Christmas. And it's just interesting to me to kind of see all the self-absorption of people who really don't understand the bigger concept, in some cases, of team play and working together. And I played football both in high school and college myself, so I had a lot of experiences with this as well. And you're talking about people who really are interested more in their celebrations after, and I realize a lot of that is for TV effects and things like that to get people. But once again, you're realizing, and I remember that one of the coaches years ago used to say, when you score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. There is no need to get all riled up and do jumping jacks and all kinds of dances in the end zone and things like that. That's a very self-centered type of approach. But we see so much of that nowadays that people lose sight of the facts of how to work as a team, how to listen to coaches, and how to grow. You have to, as a warrior, understand that you can learn from every person you meet. So as you're growing under self-control and learning self-control and stoicism, you're basically learning how to gain information from other people, gain experiences from other people, and seeing what they're doing and judging yourself, saying, I'm going to take something from this person, take something from that person. I took a lot from my dad and mom and a lot of mentors through the years who helped me, which is one of the reasons why I became a teacher, and I'm trying to help other people. Now, they may not listen to me, as Michael's saying, and maybe what you saying, what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, is a bunch of bull. Well, that's your opinion, of course. And I respect it. I will fight for that opinion, because I think you're allowed to have that opinion. But the thing is, to me, is that you have to think to yourself, how is it can I become the best person? This is what I'm striving for. When I'm talking to all of us in the audience here and these videos, what I'm trying to do is kind of indicate some of my experiences so that maybe out there it could help one of you, two of you out and say, okay, I've had some of the same experiences. Maybe I won't do the same thing as Vigor Warriors 2 did. I won't go through 47 years of going back and forth with images and pictures and losing energy and kind of, becoming ill and these type of things. And, amazingly, that hasn't happened to me. And I've been on my streak now for almost 1,200 days. We're getting close to it. I've actually lost the count. I have a count, but it's somewhere. But if I think about it, I can probably remember it right before COVID, so I could probably track it down. Probably around nearly 1,100, 50 or maybe 1,200 days, something like that. We're gonna hit past 3 years at some point here. But the idea is not that. As many people have said, this is a lifestyle change. You are committing yourself to saying, I am not going to release energy unless I'm going to procreate, because the self-control is more important. You're not interested in just having all these sexual relations with people, because what is the really purpose of that? Yes, you're going to get pleasure, but again, we go back to our society types of ideas. When you're thinking about yourself, as you see this in sports and all kinds of things you see on the media, then of course you're going to be indulging in this stuff, because that's what people think they should be doing. When in fact, everything to me is like this matrix we're in. We're not really in the real matrix. All you gotta do is look at things like, fluoride, toothpaste, cigarettes, sex, all kinds of stuff people talk about. That's really the opposite, right? They're telling you, go ahead and release energy all the time. That's gonna make you weak. It's gonna make you like a zombie. And in many cases, for young men especially, get a lot of dysfunction. At 20-some years old, that's incredible. Why is that happening? Because you should be a pretty strong, virile, vigorous man at any into your 70s or 80s, right? I'm in my 60s, and I've lost 60 pounds, so I've actually kind of made some health changes along with the retention and things that I'm doing, and I feel tremendous in that regard. The energy's flowing like crazy, but I'm transmuting it to try to become more stronger as a person. Weightlifting, trying to take cold showers in the morning, walking 20,000 steps a day, doing some benching, doing some lifting even at my age, trying to tighten up the muscles as much as possible, trying to reduce that fat. And I've dropped 60 pounds over the last, I don't know what it's been, 6 months or something like that now. And the idea is that you want to become the best person you become. Doing a lot more reading, which is another issue that we see a lot of people do. I see this with a lot, especially with the high schoolers. They don't read a lot. Actually, they're doing so much on the computers and everything, a lot of times they don't have the logical thinking and the critical thinking that you need from actually reading. And we see this a lot in mathematics and history. So you've got to continue to have goals. And this is part of the reason why that you won't have problems with retention. You won't have problems with self-control if you settle on goals. If you have goals to improve yourself, anytime you're improving yourself, you're not worried then about those type of things. You're not worried about addictions because you're so focused on achieving the goals, you have no time to worry about overeating. You're trying to stay in shape. You have no time for gambling because you know you're trying to make money in positive type of things you're doing. You have no time to sit there and look at drugs because you're not trying to get high. You're high enough as it is with life and achieving things and happy in the grace of God. You don't need drugs. But see, all these things happen because people have a void within themselves. And part of that void is they don't have a purpose. And God is going to give you that purpose. As you're setting goals up to become the best person you become, He's giving you goals. In my sake, I went away from administration and business for years, and now I'm back into what I'm looking at as being what I think God's purpose, and that's helping younger people. Helping people on videos, helping people in the classroom, in the high school, in the college, those type of things. Kind of sharing some knowledge, information that I've had over the years, and hopefully, like I said, a few people take those and they learn and they apply some of those to their life. And then they teach other people. I mean, we are all here to teach each other. We're teaching each other. You know, whether you recognize it or not, you're having an influence on all the people around you. So you need to grow as you're doing semen retention, because part of this is self-control. And self-control then is looking at this and saying, okay, I'm getting better all the time. And as I get better, I'm going to try to achieve my goals and keep working on becoming the best high-value male I can become. And that's important. So as we focus on this thing, remember, and I go back to what Michael's saying, I think that I understand the point he's making. I mean, it's very difficult to have self-control. And maybe for some people, this is a waste of time. But I would venture to guess for most people, the idea of stoicism, self-control, starting with controlling your sexual nature, is very helpful. Because it can actually go ahead and help you focus on controlling those temptations around you. And if you can do that with women and pictures, you can do that with anything. Because that's the strongest force you're going to have. Your force inside of you, your energy, is the strongest force. And this is why we talk about so much. This is why there's so much benefits with it, because the force is unbelievable. It is an unbelievable strength that you have. And the longer you contain it, the longer you can transmute it, the stronger you get. You know, I haven't really been sick enough to miss work in years, 30 years. Now, have I been sick over the years? Oh, yeah, I think I've had probably colds and different types of things. But the combination of the retention, the control, keeping the energy, keeping on my purpose, and refocusing has helped me overcome whatever I've had. And always through that whole COVID situation, I never had that once. Never had to get a vaccine or anything like that. Those are the types of things that make you stronger, in my beliefs. I'm a very holistic type person. I believe the less those types of drugs and things you can need to take, the medicines you can take, the better off. Because there's always side effects of those things. And so as you're growing, you should not need those. I don't care how old you are. Now, of course, there's limits to what I'm talking about. You know, if you're breaking something or something happens and you need to take that, of course. But again, remember, there's side effects to everything you take. Anything you put into your body, you have to know what you're putting in the body and the side effects it's going to have to you. And that's important. So anytime you're sitting there and looking at your whole life picture and you're saying to yourself, what is it that I want to achieve? What is my goals? What is my purpose? God is telling you this is what you should be doing. Then follow that line of course. And when it comes to spiritual, obviously get into your Bible readings, and whatever religion you have, get into those readings, get into your relationship with your Creator. In my case, is Lord Jesus Christ. In the case of the intellectual, Continue to read, continue to stretch your mind out, do things that are going to create logical thinking, continue to think. That separates us from a lot of people, especially a lot of people in this world who don't think. They're reacting like sheep. And also, physically, so you got the physical, the intellectual, the spiritual. Those three areas are important. Physically, of course, working out, walking, even if you're just walking. I take 20,000 steps a day. I'm trying my goal. This is how I've been able to lose a lot of weight. A lot of the walking on the incline, on the treadmill. I'm walking the dogs all the time. Those things are important in my mind to continue to build yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that troika of the three things together allows you to become a strong person under God. Because God recognizes that you're trying to become the best person you can become. You're not trying to destroy the temple God has given you in your body. You're not trying to go against God by not being spiritual. And of course, you're trying to improve your intellectual capacity anytime you get. So until the day you pass away and God takes you up to heaven, and some of you believe in that, some of you don't, I believe in that. That idea then, until that day, you become the best person you can become in all aspects of life. And that's why I'm doing this and what we're talking about this, because you're going to continue to grow. Even at 62, I'm learning a lot of things. It was funny that the Vigor Warrior 2 has finished his doctorate a long time ago, but the day I finished my doctorate, I recognized I didn't know too much. You know, back in the old days, Vigor Warrior 2 had a big ego like a lot of people do now. They think they're smart. I wasn't very smart. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And the idea is that you can always learn from people. And if you don't think you can learn, then you're really kind of in bad shape, because you're going to plateau at some point and you're going to kind of decrease. And you see a lot of people doing that. They're not increasing as time goes on, they decrease. All right, my friends, well, enough for today. So our idea was continue to grow during semen retention. We're also going to do the next time we're together, we're going to talk about stop blaming other people during semen retention. So that'll be a good one. And I got a bunch of other ones that I've written down too, and we'll continue with our shout outs as well. So again, I hope you guys, I had something on my throat. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are doing well. And I hope you guys are going to be a holiday season that's going to be happy here. And certainly as we get closer to the new year, I will send something out as well. We'll probably do a couple of my other ones before we get to that point. But as always, my friends, I leave you with a couple things. First of all, on this glorious night, always remember that every day, and tomorrow's a new one coming up, every day is a new day to a great warrior, because you guys are all great warriors, and I love doing these type of things. And the reason you're a great warrior is because every day you know it's a new day of challenges as you go along. And so, as we also realize, this is a continual battle. And I know that some people feel they don't recognize it is, and they feel this is for the weak of mind, and people are just, crazy doing this kind of stuff. But realize that there is a Satan, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, that's outside this body. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And if that's the case, then there's good forces and bad forces. And what you really want to do is focus on God and bringing that good force in. And you don't want the negative forces, the temptation that's going to destroy you. And this is why every day we need to continue to burn! Have a good night, my friends.